Hey, I came across a video which was purportedly from Brazil, and in this video it showed a man basically shaving the head of a woman, and a young child was in her arms. Now, supposedly the backstory to this, someone translated from the Portuguese, was that she had had an affair with the man's nephew or something like that. Um, but clearly he's degrading her, and she feels intimidated. I think it's despicable. Um, But I got an interesting debate going on the forum that I saw this on. We tend to associate honour crimes, so-called honour crimes, with the South Asian community. Um, countries like India, Pakistan, and certainly that's a massive problem in that part of the world. And sometimes that comes over in the diaspora in countries like Britain. By the way, if I've got to like this, but I've got an ulcer in my tongue, it's quite painful. That's why. Yeah, so certainly that is a big problem in the South Asian community, but there is also this mentality of honor being portrayed in other communities as well. It can probably be found in some contexts all over the world. Um, this one was obviously from Latin America. Now, according to one person who translated the video, uh, they were gypsies. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. We'll have, that's according to their word. Um, I wasn't aware that there was a big Romani population in South America, but then Brazil's a diverse country, so who knows? I know that in the UK there has been these mentalities from certain high-profile Romani men, gypsy men, traveller men, depending what way you look at it. I mean, the boxer Tyson Fury has come up with a lot of controversial statements. One thing he came out with during an interview was that if his sister was promiscuous, he would hang her, which was a disgusting thing to say. I do think there is a machismo culture in parts of Latin America and Central America that really is a problem. Um, and I think in those communities, sometimes domestic violence is seen as a norm. But this is something that can be seen all over the world. In China, again, it's pretty normal. Only recently has the government really taken significant action against this. In Europe, it's a problem. You could argue there's been more legislation in Europe and North America, but it still happens. So anyway, it got me thinking about the whole concept of possessiveness in a relationship, and also emotional violence. Now, in the video I mentioned, obviously it was a man degrading a woman, and my thinking on that was, well, supposedly he's acting because she's been unfaithful, but I don't think it's any excuse, and this is why. I really believe that a man who's going to do that to a woman and film it is abusive in the first place. So for all we know, she may have went to someone else as a vacuum, as escape. That's not unheard of. Um, as a general rule, I'm not saying that adultery or infidelity is justified. It's a bad thing. But I do think there are some circumstances when someone is is in a genuinely abusive and controlling relationship, and they maybe find someone who gives them a vacuum out of that. Now, technically, it's cheating, it's infidelity, but that is a situation where you can understand that. However, there is the other situation, of course, where you get people who are routinely unfaithful and simply don't care about their partner's feelings, or if they do, they lack the values to really change. And you get situations where the partner forgives them over and over and over again, and it's always the same thing. And this is something that is not, in my opinion, a gender issue. There are men who do it, and there are women who do it. Now, generally speaking, as a rule, I try not to pontificate too much when it comes to other people's relationships, but I do consider that sort of infidelity to be a form of emotional violence. It's one thing if someone does something stupid because they've had too much to drink, still not an excuse. I think that's a bit different from someone who does it regularly, and they just don't care. And it's particularly bad when it's in the context of a marriage, which is supposed to be sacred. But who am I to judge other people and what they do? I really think relationships are a very private matter. But having said that, I do think there needs to be a challenge to some of the controlling matters, the mentalities around possessiveness. What certain men need to understand is that just because a woman has been with you, either as a girlfriend or even as your wife, does not mean that you own her. And as a man, I'm saying that regressive bullshit mentality to have. It should be an equal relationship. It should be she's your partner. Um, and if she cheats on you, I'm not condoning that. But if your approach to someone cheating on you is to punish them or to want revenge on them, I think that's wrong. Now, this works both ways because I do think that when women sort of take revenge on an unfaithful man, it's kind of seen as, oh, you go, girl. Well, if we're going to have standards on this, we have to be consistent. So I think they should just end the relationship. You know, if someone disrespects you in that way, it's human to be angry, but end the relationship. If you can, end the relationship. I think forgiveness has its place, but you have to be sure that the person isn't going to do it again. But certainly the approach to a woman cheating on you isn't to beat them up. I mean, that to me indicates that you're not acting out of hurt. You're acting out of anger, and you're acting out of not a feeling of she's betrayed your love. If you're going to beat her up, you don't love her in the first place. You don't love someone if you're beating them up. By all means, be angry. I think that's a human response. You know, even yell at her or whatever. But I think to go down to the point of actually degrading her on camera, that's not love. And I think where honor is concerned, so-called honor, it's just a very, very primitive, and yeah, frankly, patriarchal mindset. I'm saying that as a non-feminist. I believe that is a patriarchal mindset because you don't see this from women. You don't see women abusing men because their honor has been, um, they've been humiliated. Not in the same way. You do see a situation in China with mistresses being abused. I think again that's now to me I find that disgusting because it's always the mistress, it's never the man. You know, and in some cases these young women may not even know. You know, guys who cheat are liars. They may well be lying to the woman that they're with. So my thinking is certainly it's human to be angry if you have been betrayed in a relationship. But by the same token, you don't love the person in the first place if your response to that is going to be to beat them up or to degrade them in some way. Because then it's bringing out something that is about possession and it's a totally different matter. Okay, this isn't a cheery subject, it's not a nice subject, but it does happen in this world and it happens in our own midst. So we can't brush it under the carpet. Let me know your thoughts.